Alright, it's about time we did this shit, yeah? Yeah? Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Ant and welcome back to the channel. So, in today's video, we're going to be doing a shiny only hardcore nuzlocke on Pokemon White 2. The shiny odds in this game as well are 1 in 8192. After hearing that, you're probably wondering, like, why the hell am I doing this? Well, I guess I like to torture myself. Everyone also seems to enjoy the previous similar challenges that I've made like this too, so I thought, why not? Let's do it. So we're just currently getting into things. I'm going to go pick myself as a trainer. I'm going to go give myself the name of Ant. And I'm going to go give my rival the name Hugo. Sort of a bit of a reminiscent of what I called him back like 12 years ago when this game came out. Also, guys, last year me and my friend had a bit of a bet about seeing if I could hit 5,000 subscribers. He said I couldn't. I said I could. And we made it. Well, this year we've got another one of those bets going on as well. This time I say I'm going to hit 8,000 subscribers. He says it's not possible. So if you are new here and find yourself enjoying the content, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Help me win this. I really want to win. And also, I would love for you to stick around too. Lastly, there's going to be a few rules that are just going to flash up on your screen for just a moment. They're what we're going to be following during the run. And yeah, with all that done, now we can go get back into things. So what I'm doing here basically is I'm just soft resetting, trying to get a shiny tepig. This one was kind of horrible, to be honest, because I was getting my starter about twice a minute. It really sucked. So I was here actually doing this for about 13 hours. So yeah, it came like severely under odds. But sitting here for 13 hours and only getting 1,500 to 1,600 resets in all that time kind of sucked. But yeah, we actually managed to get a shiny tepig. And it came really quickly as well, like not in the sense that it took 13 hours, because that's a long time to be only getting 2 encounters per minute throughout the whole thing, but odds wise this is crazy. It has an adamant nature too, which is plus attack minus special attack, which I don't think there's a more perfect nature this tepig could have had. After getting my starter, I'll go get into a little rival fight with my rival. And this one doesn't really take too long. I actually thought we was going to lose this as well, but because we haven't got Pokeballs yet, we haven't actually started. But I start off with a tail whip here, and we tackle spam until Oshawott goes down. After this then, I got to go straight into another rival battle with him. And thankfully, he doesn't actually have any water type attacks yet, because if he did, we'd be screwed. And from here, it's just a tackle spam until we take this down, and we win the fight. So I do quite a bit more after this, and then I can go finally fight against Cheron, the first gym leader of the run. He's a normal type trainer and he's going to start off here with Patrat. So I'm leading Tepig and straight away I'm going to try to set up some defense calls. I put myself to +2 on defense call, then hit tackle, and Patrat also goes and puts itself up to +2 as well with workup. And this is literally just tackle spam over and over, but eventually we go use another tackle and take down the Patrat. Cheron then sends out Lillipup. Lillipup knocks me into my Oran Berry, and I go hit this with a tackle. Again, this happens over and over, but we know we're getting close. As we take one last tackle, and then we go finish this off, finally. And with that done, that's Cheron defeated for the first gym badge of a run. So from here then, I actually go and do a bit of training, and I go get my Tepig up to level 17. And from here, it's going to go and evolve into a Pignite. What's great is, well, my level cap is actually at level 17 as well, so that's perfect. I can get a Pignite for the Roxy fight, and I'll be able to handle this pretty easily. So we go get into the second gym fight of a run, and she starts off here with coughing. And I'm going to go send out my Pignite here. I'm going to go for a workup on the first turn to put myself up to +1. From here I take a tackle. I'm going to go for a flame charge as well to get my speed a bit higher. And while doing this, we also put the coughing down into one shot. Now with this in mind, I can go for another flame charge here, put myself to +2 speed, and also take down the coughing. And from here after, Roxy's actually going to go send out her Whirlipede. Oh, my level cap was 18 by the way. But yeah, Roxy sends out Whirlipede after this. I go hit this with a flame charge, take this down with a one shot. And that's Roxy defeated for the second gym badge of a run. Now after defeating Roxy, we can also go get on the boat over to Castalia City. And immediately whilst I'm here, I'm actually going to go get into the third gym leader of the run as well, which is Burr. Now Burr here is a bug type trainer, and I've got a Pokemon that's basically super effective against like all her Pokemon bar one. So I know what I want to do for this fight, and I'm going to start off with a workup against a Swadloon. I'm basically going to set up against this because there's not really much it can do against me. It's using things like Razor Leaf that's doing about 6 damage, and it helps me go get my workups done. So I go put myself to +4, and from here then I'm going to go for a flame charge, and I'm going to go take down the Swadloon. Nextly then, Bird's going to send out Dwebble, and another flame charge here is going to knock it down onto its sturdy. It goes for rock polish too, but after all these flame charges I'm going to be too fast for it. Burr uses a hyper potion, puts it back to full life. Again, I'm going to knock it straight back down onto sturdy. And from here, I can go finish it off on the next turn. And then with Dwebble down now as well, Burr's going to go send out Livani, the final Pokemon. And again, one more flame charge, another one shot. And with this done, that's Burr defeated for the third gym badge of a run. So after we defeat Burr, we go into the next route and we have to go get into a fight with Colress as well. Someone we're going to face quite a couple times in the run. Pretty easy in this fight though. I'm just going to go for a flame charge, knock the Magnemite down onto sturdy. But it does hit me with a Thunder Wave, which is kind of annoying. Now to go get past sturdy, I hit his strength after the heal. And then I go finish it off with another flame charge. From here then, Colress sends out Clink. Hits me with Gear Grind as well. Doesn't really do too much and activates my Aurum Berry. And then I'm going to go finish this off as well with another flame charge. Take down Colress and win the fight. I also met these really nice people as well. And they've got a message they want to say to everyone watching the video right now. So after this, I've got to go find myself a new shiny because I know there's no way I'm going to be able to continue with just one Pokemon. Especially with the fact that I'm pretty much at level cap as well before I've even entered the gym. So I am going to have to look for another Pokemon. Something that can help me beat Alicia. And I decided I was going to go look in the desert. I thought there's quite a few Pokemon here that could help me. I could find maybe something like a Sandile and some other Pokemon as well. And after looking around for only a little bit of time, I ended up finding myself a shiny Maractus. Honestly, this comes insanely quick. If I thought 1,500 to 1,600 was extremely under odds for my starter, then holy shit was I wrong, because I was getting around about 6 to 7 encounters per minute, and I was only hunting here for around about 50 minutes. So this Maractus came at around about 300 encounters. Absolutely insane. I captured this up quickly. I gotta give it a nickname of Maraca. It's a gentle nature, which means minus defense plus special defense. And from here after this, we're going to go get into the fight with Elisa, the 4th gym leader of the run. She's going to start off with a Mulga, and thankfully a Mulga doesn't come with any flying type attacks because that could have been an issue for us, but because it didn't, it's absolutely fine. We send out Maraca, and mostly every time we get hit, we're just going to heal back up with Giga Drain. But on this second turn, I actually go for a Needle Arm here, so I can just about stop it from going into potion range. And I go finish it off with his second Giga Drain. So with Emolga down, now we've only got 2 more Pokemon to go through. And what Elisa decides here is that she's going to go send out her main Pokemon, which is Zebstrika. And I'm just going to go for another Giga Drain here after taking a Flame Charge. So quite nicely, Giga Drain actually crits Zebstrika as well. So that just gets us through with 1 turn, which is nice. And now we're up against her final Pokemon, which is Flaffy. So I'm going to go for another Giga Drain here on the Flaffy, knock it down into Red Life. Unfortunately, this means it's in potion range, so Elisa's going to heal next turn. And I also get hit by a Thunder Wave as well, which means I've got to go for the rest of this fight under Paralysis. And that actually stops me on the very next turn too. We're then hit by a takedown by the Flaffy. I finally do pull off a Needle Arm, and it's going to knock it down to just above half-life, take another takedown on the next turn, and then I go finish this off with one last Giga Drain to earn myself the 4th gym badge of a run. Now I want to try and get to Driflower City here, but this guy actually won't let us past unless I've got 3 Pokemon, so I'll quickly go into the grass, catch myself a little Minchino, but I can't actually use in the battle, but it's going to have to be here for it, otherwise I can't get past. So we're going to start this fight off here with Pignite and Maraca, and they're the only 2 Pokemon that can hit things here. I'm basically just going to use Encore on myself. From here as well, Siglife starts trying to set up the screens, and we knock it down into 1 shot as well. Now from here, I decide I'm going to try and take down Siglife while I can. Hit the Archon with a Giga Drain, knock it down into 1 shot. Flame Charge a Siglife to take it down, and now lastly, we've only just got Archon left, so we can go for 1 last Flame Charge on the Archon, take this down, and win the fight. Now once we make it into Driflower City, we've also got to go fight Rude as well. He sends out a Herdia that uses Intimidate on us with its ability. We knock it down into 1 shot with Heat Crash, and then we go finish it off with another Heat Crash. From here then, Rude sends in Swoobat, take an Air Cutter, 1 Heat Crash here, actually takes us down with a 1 shot, and we win the fight. So I'll do a little training, get everyone up to level cap, and then from here we're going to go get into the 5th gym leader of the run, which is Clay. So Clay starts off here with Krokorok, and he's also a ground type trainer as well, so Maraca's actually perfect for this. We're going to go send out Maraca, and we're going to go take down his Krokorok with a 1 shot from Giga Drain. But nextly, Clay's going to send out Sandslash. Again, another ground type. This is just another 1 shot to Giga Drain, so we use this and we go take this down. Nextly from here, Clay's going to send out his last Pokemon, which is Excadrill. It's going to try and hit me with Rock Slide as well, which I dodge. And then I'll go hit this with a Giga Drain, put it down into 1 shot. Gets a bit of healing from its berry, but it's still in a position where I'm able to finish this off. So we take the Rock Slide, thankfully don't flinch, And we go finish this off with one last Giga Drain to win the fight. Now quickly down in PWT, I've got to go get into 2 little fights. One's a double battle with Cheron, and the other one's going to be a double battle with Hugo. So I'm actually getting doubled up on here as well, which is kind of annoying. I take a wing attack and a mud bomb. So from here, I know I'm going to have to switch. So I got to make a switch here over into my Maractus. Startland takes out the Golbat. And then he also takes out the Lipard as well as I finish off the Grimer. Then lastly, we've got Krokorok. 1 strength here. Takes it down completely and we win the fight. So for that second fight I was talking about, it's just me alongside Hugo. And again, Hero's on quite low life here. So again, I'm going to have to go make a hard switch over into Maraka. And Coffin uses self-destruct here. So that just takes down their 2 Pokemon like straight away. I also go take down the Watchog with a 1-shot from Giga Drain. I have to pretty much go do the same to Raticate after. With that done, we can then move on into Charge Stone Cave. Our level cap's also gone up now to level 39. So I can do a bit more training. After winning this one battle that I was in, Pignite's going to then go and evolve into an emboar. So nicely then we go get emboar, and I decide I'm going to have to go do some more shiny hunting. And I'm looking around Chargestone Cave at the moment because there's quite a few Pokemon in here that's going to help me. And after looking around, I was probably looking for around about 8 hours at this point, and it turns out that I end up with Pokerus as well, which is kind of crazy because that's even higher odds than a shiny Pokemon. After getting Pokerus, so I actually am going to go back into Chargestone Cave and finish off my hunts. And in total, I think this hunt was around about 9 hours, was getting something like around about 8 encounters per minute. And all this hunting in Chargestone Cave ends me up with this, a shiny Joltik. So I go capture this up and I go check its stats after. It turns out it's also got a timid nature as well, which is literally perfect. We also do a bit of training and this evolves into a Galvantula pretty quickly before we head back down to Driftvale. Now in Driftvale, I'm actually going to go get myself a move onto my Galvantula. And then we're going to go get into the fight with Skylar, the 6th gym leader of the run. She's a flying type trainer and we've just caught an electric type that's really fast. So this can be perfect for us. We start off with Electro Ball on the Swoobat. And I also give myself the electric gem as well that I found whilst in Chargestone Cave doing this hunt. And it's going to take down the Swoobat. And we're also going to learn agility here as well, which I am going to go teach myself for Bug Bite. As then they're next going to send in Swanna. So my first thing here is I'm going to go for a Thunder Wave on Swanna. This is just going to make its speed quite a bit slower as well, and also make it possibly miss a few turns. It hits me with Feather Dance, which isn't really going to do anything to me, and I'm also going to go agility here before I go hit the Swanna with an Electro Ball and take this down as well. Then now she's going to send out a final Pokemon, Skarmory. So Skarmory here, I'm going to go for an Electro Ball, put this down onto Sturdy. It's going to go for agility itself as well, but I'm still going to be quicker. And from here, she's going to go use a Hyper Potion. And I'm going to put it immediately back down into very low life. And then on the next turn, I'm going to hit a Volt Switch, take down the Skarmory, and defeat Skylar. Now, Skylar defeated, I'm going to continue on from here. And I'm going to go get myself into Reversal Mountain. Now, whilst I was in it, Bianca wanted to go around together. And whilst going around with Bianca, we're now getting 2 encounters every single time we find a Pokemon. So I decided I was actually going to try the shiny hunt here. Because every time we're finding a Pokemon, we basically got 2 chances at this 1 in 8192. We was getting something like around about 10 encounters per minute here. And after looking around for around about an hour, we end up finding this, a shiny Skorupi. But now I've got to try to safely catch this. You can't just throw a Pokeball in a double battle on this game. So my first idea here is I'm going to go immediately Thunder Wave Musharna because that could possibly hit Skorupi, but it might not. Now from here, so I can try and keep Jolt with some good life, I'm going to go make a switch here over into my Emboar. And Musharna actually puts Boldor down onto Sturdy for us, which helps us out quite a bit. So what I decide I'm going to do here is, so I don't take down the Boldor and then let Musharna hit Skorupi, I'm just going to keep going for workups. Because then Musharna can hit Boldor once again. So I let Musharna do its thing and take down the Boldor. And from here, I'm going to go catch the Skorupi. And I'm going to go give it the nickname of Score. So we go check out its stats. It's a Brave Nature, which is plus attack minus speed. With Score coming in around about level 33 as well. It didn't take much to get this up to level 40. And get it to evolve into a Drapion. Now after getting out of this cave, shortly after I go get into another rival fight with Hugo. And Hugo here is going to lead off with Unpheasant. Now with Jolt up front, I can go for an Electro Ball. And this will be going down to a one-shot. So we finish off at Unpheasant and then get to his second Pokemon. So for Samurott once again, I'm going to go for another Electro Ball. And it's going to get put down into really low life before it goes for Revenge. The Revenge doesn't do way too much to us. And from here, I'm going to go Try and hit this again with another Electro Ball as Hugo heals. Knock it straight back down into very low life once again. Then from here, I'll go to finish it off on the next turn. Take an Aqua Jet, which actually done quite a bit of damage. And then go knock this down. So with Samurott down now, we've only got one last Pokemon to defeat. And against Simisage here, I'm actually going to go make a switch over into my emboar. I take a C-Bomb on the switch, which doesn't really do too much. And then here on the next turn, I'm going to go for a Heat Crash. Take this down with a one-shot. And that's Hugo defeated. Also on this Route 13 here, I end up finding myself a Cobra Lion. Now I'm just going to go catch this. I think it's a nice Pokemon to give Pokerus to and have sit in my PC forever. So I go capture this up, go give it Pokerus and go put it in my PC. From here then I've got to go get into a fight with Hugo against Zinzalin. They're going to start off here with Cryogonal and Golbat. And I'm going to start off with Jolt here alongside Samurott. And what I'm going to go for here is I'm going to go for an Electro Ball and I'm going to go take down a Golbat. So this goes down to a one shot. And Samurott actually hits the Cryogonal with an Encore at like the perfect time as well. Now on his next turn, I'm actually going to go hit a Volt Switch on the Cryogonal too, so I can go get an easy switch. I'm going to switch here over into my Emboar. On his next turn here, I'm going to go for a Flame Charge on the Cryogonal, and we're going to go take this down. We also get poisoned by a Sludge Bomb, which kind of sucks. From here though, Zinzalin's going to send out Sneasel, and I'm actually going to go put this down into like 1 HP with a Flame Charge. And then I'm going to also take another Sludge Bomb as well from the Garbodor. From here though, Samurott goes for Revenge, takes down a Sneasel for me at least. I take a bit of poison damage as well, which puts me into quite low life. So from here, I know I'm going to need to switch. So I'll go make a switch here over into my new Drapion. Samurott's Aqua Jet puts Garbodor down into one shot. And it goes for Toxic on the Samurott as well, which isn't really anything to us. On the next turn then, I'm going to try to go in with a Night Slash, but Samurott gets there first with another Aqua Jet, takes down the Grunt, and with this done, we defeat both the Grunt and Zinzalin. This guy just thought he was like on some shit, so, you know, he thinks he's got a 999 winning streak, so I just thought, you know, I'm going to have to go put him in his place, you know. As a future champion of the Unova region, I'm just going to do what I have to do. The Dig actually does quite a bit of damage due to a critical hit here. I go make a switch back over into my Jolt. And from here, I go for an Electro Ball, take down the Durant. Now you just got one last Pokemon to defeat, which is Lucario. So I'm going to Thunder Wave on the first turn on this Lucario, make it paralyze. Go for a Volt Switch, knock it down below half-life. Made a switch here over into Emboar, and from here, Emboar can go finish this off with one last hit with Flame Charge. And that's this guy defeated. Our little warm-up fight before we get into the next city. And I have to go get into the 7th Gym Lead fight of the run against Drayden. So here now against Drayden, the 7th Gym Leader of the run. He's going to start off with a Drudagon. I start off here with Jolt. I'm going to Thunder Wave this on the first turn. This is something I'm going to have maybe a tiny bit of difficulty dealing with, I was thinking, so just gonna go do that. And because of this now as well, it's got quite a lot more lower speed, so I'm gonna go for Electro Ball, knock it just above half-life, and then I'm gonna go hit this with a Volt Switch as well, knock it down into Orange before making a hard switch over into Scorp. We take another Crunch, which doesn't do much due to not being very effective. I actually tried setting up some Toxic Spikes here, which didn't really work the way I wanted it to. I thought it might help a little, but I don't really remember it helping all that much. After doing that though, I am also going to go and try and set up some Home Claws as well. So I use that and put myself to +1 before taking down the Drudagon with a Night Slash. After taking down the Drudagon, Drayden then sends out Flygon, which doesn't get affected by the Toxic Spikes, so really we kind of put them down for no reason. Also, this is going to be coming in with a ground type attack, and at +1 I'm probably not going to take this down, so I make a switch here over into Maraka to get away from that. We also flinch on the next turn from a Rock Slide as well, but looking at my HP I knew I could stay in. Take another Earth Power. I'm going to go hit this with Giga Drain as well to try and restore quite a lot of my HP back, which puts the Flygon down into one shot too. So I know from here that I'm pretty much going to take this down. But before I do this, I actually want to make sure I've got enough HP for the next Pokemon as well. So I go use Synthesis, and then I go finish this off with a Giga Drain after. Now, after doing this, we're up against Drayden's last Pokemon, which is Haxorus, and this actually does get badly poisoned at least. I'm going to stay in with Maraka, even though we've had a defense drop, and I'm going to go for a Giga Drain on a Haxorus. Doesn't really do way too much, and we also take a Dragon Tail, which basically forces us to switch. So we switch here over into Galvantula, and I'm going to go hit this with a Volt Switch as well. Knock this down into really low life because of a crit. It's going to get a bit of HP back from its Citrus Berry. And we go make a switch over into our Emboar here while taking a Slash. The Toxic's going to put it down into around about 1/3 of its HP. And me here, I know I've got to stay in and I've got to hit this. So stay in here. And I tried to go for a Strength. it goes for Dragon Dance. And from here, I'll go and hit this with Strength. And this will take down the remainder of its HP and win us a fight. So with that done, let's Drayden defeated for the 7th badge of a run. Now Drayden defeated, I've also got to go fight Zinzolin outside the gym. So in another fight with Zinzolin here, he's going to start off with Cryogonal. I'm actually going to take this as a bit of an opportunity to set up as well. So I'll go use Work Up and put myself to +1. And then here on the next turn, I'm going to go for a Flame Charge and take this down. So with that done, the first Cryogonal goes down. And we also get a speed boost here as well, which means we're going to be faster than the next Cryogonal is going to send out right now. So the second Cryogonal comes out, we go hit this with another Flame Charge, and this is also another one-shot. Then he's sending out Weavile after. So Weavile here, we're going to go for another Flame Charge and defeat Zinzolin. I have to do a little Shadow Triad fight straight after. This is fine though. Little Heat Crash on the Pawniard. One shot. He then sends out an Absol as well. And Absol, once again, we're going to go for Heat Crash. This is actually going to survive on really low life as well. But the Shadow Triads don't heal at least. So I'm going to go for a Flame Charge and take this down. And now we just got one more Pawniard to take down as well to win the fight. So if we send out the last Pawniard, I'm going to go for a Heat Crash and take this down, win the fight, and that's all that's sorted. And with that done, we head up to the next town and actually go get into the next gym as well. Getting into the fight with Marlon to go on our 8th gym badge of a run. We already know that we've got the perfect Pokemons for this, which are both Jolt and Maracas. So I'm going to start off with Jolt here. And I'm going to go for a Volt Switch. I know this has Sturdy, so I know he's going to heal, so I start off with this. And instead of going into Maracas here, I actually go over into Scorp as well. I know the heal's coming, so I decide I'm going to be setting up just a few little Toxic Spikes. After putting down 2 sets, I'll go make a hard switch over into Maracas. Maracas here goes for Giga Drain on the Caracosta, knocks it straight back down onto Sturdy, and I get most of my HP recovered back, before then being able to take this down on the next turn with another Giga Drain. With Caracosta down, we then go get into his second Pokemon, and his second Pokemon's Wailord. Now Wailord's got a lot of HP, so I definitely wanted to hit this with a Giga Drain. I knew I was going to get all my life back here, so I hit this with a Giga Drain, and we actually end up taking this down with a one-shot as well. So this goes down, and now we're down to his final Pokemon. And the final Pokemon he sends in here is Jellicent. So against Jellicent here, I'm going to go for another Giga Drain. This is going to put the Jellicent down into low life. It's going to get some healing from its berry, and it's also got its Cursed Body ability there, which is going to make sure we can't use Giga Drain again. It's fine though. I'm just going to go for a Synthesis. And actually, Jellicent also uses Recover here as well to try and stop us getting its life down. So I'm going to go for a Needle Arm after. And this also does quite a lot of damage, puts it into low life. And I think at this point, Toxic is just enough to take this down. And it is, so Jellicent goes down to the Toxic and we win the fight. Now with that, we've got another fight with Zinzolin. At least this time though, we are getting backed up by Hugo. I start off with emboar. I'm going to work up on the first turn like I did in my last fight against Zinzolin. I'm getting double teamed though, which is kind of annoying. And then Samurai actually takes down the Cryogonal with Aqua Tail as well, which I actually wanted to be aiming for. I do go hit this with a Flame Charge though on the next turn, and we take down a Cryogonal. And Liepard goes down to an Aqua Tail from Samurott. So then we got Weavile and Watchog. And against Weavile once again, I know this takes it down, so I'll go for a Flame Charge here and finish this off, taking down all of Zinzolin's Pokemon. So now all we have to do is just finish off the Grunt. Aqua Tail from Samurott is also going to one-shot this, which means the Grunt's only got one last final Pokemon, which is Scolipede. Now Scolipede here, I already know he's going to get one-shot into Flame Charge. So I go for this, take this down, and has Zinzolin and the Grunt defeated. Pretty much very shortly after though, I have to go get into another fight with Zinzolin. Starting off with his Cryogonal once again. We know how we're going to take this on. But he actually uses Reflect here to try and stop us too. But even so, even with the Reflect, Flame Charge still one-shots Cryogonal, which is absolutely perfect. And because I know it one-shotted that Cryogonal, I know it's going to one-shot this one, so I take this one down too. And now they send out Weavile. So for Weavile, I'm actually going to go for a Heat Crash instead because of the Reflect, and we take down the Weavile with one shot as well. And with that done, Zinzolin defeated again. Now with Zinzolin defeated, I also have to go get into another fight with Chorus. And this fight was actually kind of difficult, to be honest. This is one of those fights where I thought to myself, I really needed another Pokemon. I start off with a Flame Charge against a Magneton, put it down into one shot, and it's going to hit me with a Thunder Wave. Now this is fine at least because I'm holding a Cherry Berry, knowing this was going to come. And I go for another Flame Charge on the next turn and finish this off. But nextly now he's going to go send out Magnezone. And against the Magnezone here, I'm going to go for another Flame Charge. And also put this down into one shot too. Annoyingly though, Magnezone is also going to hit us with Thunder Wave. So we go under Paralysis. And Chorus also uses a full restore as well, which is kind of annoying. I do manage to pull off the next flame charge though without being parried and knock it down onto Sturdy because of a crit. Absolutely fine. No, we outspeed still, even though we're paralyzed due to using flame charges quite a few times. Take down the Magnezone with another crit as well, which is kind of crazy. Could have done with that against another Pokemon though, but now, nextly, Chorus is going to send out Bayem. And Bayem keeps using Calm Mind, so it doesn't do anything to us on the switch. And from here, I can go for 2 Night Slashes and take this down. Nextly, after this, Chorus sends out Klinklang, so I'll go make a hard switch here over into my Galvantula. And Klinklang goes for a Shift Gear. A second Shift Gear after. It's going to put its attack up, and I'm going to hit this with a Thunder Wave to put it under Paralysis. After putting it under Paralysis, I go hit it with a Volt Switch, pop its Air Balloon, and put myself straight back over into score. We also then take a Giga Impact as well, which we end up surviving quite luckily. They've done a lot of damage to us. And I've kind of got a bit of concern now because I'm going to have to make a hard switch on the turn that it's recharging, do a bit more damage to it with Jolts, and then basically tank another Giga Impact. That was my only way through this. I mean, I'd hope Paralysis would do what it was able to do, but at this point, I had to also prepare for it not working. So, my idea here is I'm going to go for another Volt Switch and then go into emboar, who I think can tank this. It was the only play I had in my mind. So, I do the Volt Switch. I go over into emboar, take a Giga Impact, and then from here, I'm actually going to go make another switch back over into Jolt, and I'm going to go finish this off with the Electro Ball this turn. I needed Jolt out because emboar's Paralysis. I couldn't waste that last opportunity I had to take it down. So I make the switch over into Jolt and I finish it off. Now lastly, we're against Chorus's last Pokemon, which is Metang. Thankfully, it's not a Metagross. I'm going to go put it under Paralysis with Thunder Wave. And then I'm going to go hit this with an Electro Ball, knock it down into one shot. And from here, I can go finish it off with one last Electro Ball and defeat Chorus. That battle was honestly really tough. It made me think that I was really going to need another Pokemon. So that was something I was going to definitely consider after this. But before I could actually get through this part, I had to go also take on the Shadow Triads once again. So these are all just one-shots. We one-shot the Pawniard. Absol comes. This is also another one-shot. So we go take this down. And then nextly we got one more Pawniard as well. Now I've got to really be careful as well because I've still got a few more battles to do. And my level cap for the Elite Four is 58. So yeah, I've got to really start being careful with Hero here. Definitely can't let myself over level. After defeating the first Triad though, we then go get into the second Triad fight. Again, all just one shots. So start off emboar, Flame Charge, one shot, take this down. Bayonet then comes in after. And I'm going to go make a switch here actually instead over into my score. Dodge a Sidekick, hit this with a Night Slash. This is a one shot, this goes down. And then lastly we send out another Pawniard. So against Pawniard here, I'm going to go for X Scissor. Actually knock it above half-life, put it down into one shot and then finish it off after. And that's second Triad defeated. So now we just got one more left to fight. And again, he's also going to be using Pawniards too. So with Hero here, we go for a Flame Charge. Go take down the first Pawniard. Second Pawniard comes in after. Take this one down too with another Flame Charge. And then finally we got a Selgor as well, which is a Bug Steel type or just a pure Bug type. But I know it's super effective either way in taking this down. So I'll go for another Flame Charge. Finish this off. And that's all of them defeated. Now, here's where I made probably the biggest mistake of a run, guys. I went into the fight against the DNA spliced Reshiram and Kyurem. And what I was thinking here is that I'm going to be able to take down Kyurem. And then before I get into the fight with Ghetsis, I'm going to be able to go find myself another shiny Pokemon to help me in this. And basically that was not the case. The fight against Kyurem I knew wasn't going to be too hard. But it's not the fight about Kyurem that I was worried about. A Fusion Flare doesn't really do much to Hero. I'm going to go for another Flame Charge here, hoping it's going to kill, but Kyurem survives. But it's still fine, because it's not actually doing that much damage to us. So from here on the next turn, I'll go for one last Flame Charge, defeat Kyurem, and like I was saying before, I thought after defeating Kyurem, I'm going to be able to go and hunt for another Pokemon. Again, this was not the case. So, huge mistake on my part, because Ghetsis immediately forces us into a battle. I've got 4 Pokemon. Thankfully, they're all healed when I go into the fight, but 4 Pokemon versus his 6, and he's got good Pokemon as well, let's just put it like that. So, he's going to start off with Cofagrigus here. I've got emboar and immediately switch over into my Drapion. It protects on the first turn, so I can't get it there, but on the next turn, I can still hit this with another Night Slash. It hits me with a Shadow Ball as well. And from here on this next turn, I can also go for another Night Slash and finish this off. So we go take down Ghetsis' first Pokemon. After this, though, he's going to send out Seismitoad. And due to this knowing ground type moves and being water ground, I'm going to go make a hard switch over into Maracas here. So it goes for an Earthquake. It's not very effective. And I'm able to outspeed and get all my HP back as well with a Giga Drain. So now with this done, that's 2 of Ghetsis' Pokemon down. So everything's going well so far, to be honest. It was still a mistake though. Like, I wanted another Pokemon and I just did not realize he was going to force me into this fight after. But I mean, it kind of makes sense that he would. But I don't know, I just wasn't thinking that was going to be the case. It's still fine though. We can go for 2 Giga Drains on the Electros. Take this down as well. So now we've only got 3 of his Pokemon left. But he's still sitting on like a very scary sort of Pokemon in the back, which is Hydreigon. He sends out a Drapion. I'm going to make a hard switch here from Maractus over into Jolt. And we take a Night Slash. From here, I'm actually going to go and put the Drapion under Paralysis as well. It's a bit of a scary Pokemon. Hits me with another Night Slash, puts me into low life. Thankfully, I did a tiny bit of preparation for this fight before I went into it, even though I didn't think I was going to be forced into it. The Electric Gem at least gives us a little boost. So then we go take down the Drapion with Electro Ball. Ghetsis sends out Hydreigon. Very scary Pokemon, especially considering he's got 12 levels before he's supposed to have one. So with this, because I think it might outspeed as well, I don't go for a Volt Switch. I just hard switch straight away over into Scorp. Take a Crunch, which doesn't do much. I'm going to take a Dragon Rush, get put into low life, and I'm also going to go for an X-Scissor here as well, whilst holding the Bug Gem. So very nicely, we can take down the Hydreigon, no worries. And now we just got one last Pokemon of Ghetsis to defeat, which is Toxicroak. Now Toxicroak, I'm very happy to take this on, so I make a switch here over into my emboar. It goes for a Brick Break, and I'm going to go for a Heat Crash here, which is going to knock it into low life. I take a Poison Jab, and then I go for a Flame Charge because I know he's going to heal. So with the Flame Charge here, it's going to knock it down to just below half-life. And then I'm going to go take this down with a Heat Crash just to be mean because he forced us into the fight. So we go take down a Toxicroak, and that gets us defeated, thankfully, with no deaths. Very fortunate though. And with that thought in mind, there was absolutely no way I was not getting another shiny Pokemon before I go do anything else in this run, because that could have ended up very badly, especially if I wasn't slightly prepared with some of the Pokemon that I already had before we went into the fight. So with this here, I'm looking around the giant chasm, and I actually end up doing this hunt for around about 9 to 10 hours, and I'd say roughly on average it was around about 10-11 encounters per minute. So we're probably looking at somewhere between 5,500 to 6,500 encounters before we go and find this. A shiny Piloswine. Now this Piloswine was crazy because I was not in a position where I was able to hurt it with like any of my Pokemon. You know, Galvantula's only got electric type moves, which doesn't work. I don't want to use Emboar or Drapion because of crit chances, and Emboar's only moves were super effective as well. And Maracas was as well, so it's kind of scary. I was just spamming Ultra Ball after Ultra Ball and nothing was catching it, to the point where I thought, oh wow, I'm actually going to have to go use my Master Ball for this, aren't I? But thankfully, we do end up catching this. We give it the nickname of Mamo. It's got a quirky nature. And what quirky is, it's basically a neutral nature. So now with Piloswine, I got to go take this to the PWT. I'm going to go teach it Ancient Power. And with Ancient Power here, I'm able to go and evolve this after into a Mamoswine. And while in Driftvale City, I'm also going to go and buy a couple items as well. Pick up some items as well around the map. And then I'm going to go get into the fight with Hugo at the end of Victory Road. So Hugo here is going to start off with Unfezant. I'm going to start off with my Galvantula. And I'm going to go for a Discharge on the first turn, which is going to go take this down. Hugo's going to send out Simisage. And against Simisage here, I'm going to go for a Volt Switch due to being quicker. And I'm just going to get myself out of there really, because I know that Simisage here knows Rock Slide and is going to go for it. So I make a hard switch here over into my Drapion. Take the Rock Slide. It also crits as well, which is kind of annoying, but it's still fine. I'm going to take an Energy Ball on the turn after and go finish this off with a Cross Poison. Now, nextly from here, Hugo's going to send out his Bouffalant, and I'm making a hard switch here straight away into my Mamoswine. So he goes for an Earthquake, and we actually end up dodging this due to them lax incenses that we're holding as well, which reduces the accuracy of Pokemon that we're fighting against. He goes for a Head Charge. Puts us down to just above half-life, and I'll go finish this off with an Earthquake. And now we got Hugo's final Pokemon, which is Samurott. So against Samurott here, I'm making a hard switch back over into Jolt. I dodge a Surf. Again, this is due to holding a Lax Incense, making his accuracy lower. Go for this Discharge, put it down into one shot. It hits me with Revenge, which doesn't do much. And then he max potions back to full life. But this is fine. Another discharge. Gonna put this back down into one shot, exactly where it was before. And then I go finish this off on the next turn with one last discharge and win the fight. And now I've got to look for one last Pokemon because I've got a team of 5 right now. If I want to go take on the Elite Four, I need 6. Now, one of my worries in the Elite Four was Marshall. He's a fighting type trainer, and basically his Pokemon are going to be pretty devastating to my team. So I was looking around for a while here. I really wanted to find a Solosis to try and counter this, and we actually ended up finding ourselves a Minccino. Now again, this was crazy. It's come really quick. We're getting something like around about 9 to 10 encounters per minute. We're doing this for just under an hour, and we end up finding ourselves a Minccino. So it's probably something like 600 encounters. And honestly, this entire look's just been crazy. Despite maybe Piloswine being pretty close to 8,000, and despite Galvantula being around about 4,000, 5,000, everything else was literally extremely under odds. This Minccino that we find has got a naughty nature, which means it's got plus attack minus special defense. Now, it's a bit worrying because I was looking here for something to try and counter Marshall, like a Solosis, and we end up getting another Pokemon that's weak to fighting. Gotta work with what you got though. So I go evolve the Minccino into Chinchino, and I start teaching some more moves as well. So we go drop strength on emboar, and I go teach it return. I'm also going to go get Ice Fang on Mamoswine and drop Blizzard. There's also some moves I'm going to need to get, so I stay in the PWT. And I'm just going to go raise my battle points up to 24. I'll go get myself Protect. And I'm also going to go get myself Sword Dance as well. And with everything sorted now, we can go ahead into the Elite Four. So first off, we're going to go get into the first fight against Chantel. And I've set up accordingly for this fight. What my idea here is that I'm going to start off the fight with Galvantula. I'm going to start off by hitting the Cofagrigus with Struggle Bug to lower its special attack. I do it on the first turn, knock it down into -1 and take a Will-O-Wisp. And then after this, I'm going to go hit it with a second Struggle Bug and put it into -2. Now this is enough, but I was considering going again. But due to the burner getting a special defense drop, I actually do go make the switch now, which is still fine. But now with Score, because Cofagrigus' only attacking move is Shadow Ball that it can hurt me with, I can start setting up. So all I need to do here is go put myself to +4 on Sword Dance, and if I get burnt, I have to go put myself to +6. And we do get hit by Will-O-Wisp on the third turn. So I did have to go put myself to +6 in the end. Now with this, I go hit the Cofagrigus with a Night Slash and take down the rest of its HP. Chantel after then sends out Golurk. And I'm going to go hit this with a Night Slash as well, take it down with a one-shot. Chandelure comes out after. And again, this is just one more Night Slash to take this down. And now we're up to our final Pokemon, which is Drifblim. So Drifblim here has an ability which is Aftermath, which will take away 1/4 of my life when I take it down. But because I'm well over 1/4 of my life, that's not going to matter. I go for the Night Slash, take this down, and that's Chantel defeated with no issue. I'm going against Chantel first, which I think I'm going to have 0 issue with. Then I'm going against Caitlyn, who I think I've got 0 issue with. Then I'm going for Grimsley. And then I'm going against Marshall, because if anyone in the Elite Four is going to give me a death, it's probably going to be Marshall. So I start off here against the Musharna, knock it into -1, and then it hits me with Yawn. And now I actually don't want to go sleep here, so because this has Synchronize, I'm going to put it under Paralysis with a Thunder Wave. And because of the Synchronize, it then puts me under Paralysis as well, which means therefore I can't fall asleep. Now from here, I'm going to go for another Struggle Bug, knock the Musharna down into -2, take a Charge Beam, and then go and make the switch over into Scorpion. Just like in the last fight, I'm going to start setting up some Sword Dances. And this is absolutely fine. I go put myself into +4, but here's where I get hit by a Yawn though. So I could go take this down at +4 and be absolutely fine, but then I fall asleep against another Pokemon that's not paralyzed. So I decided I was going to go put myself to +6 and let myself fall asleep. Musharna also sets up a Reflect as well, which is kind of annoying, but what I'm hoping here is I'm going to wake up, and by the time I wake up, it'll be either when Reflect is finished. After 4 turns of being asleep, I wake up, hit the Musharna with Night Slash, take it down, and it's perfect timing because on this turn is when the Reflect actually ends as well. So next up then, Reuniclus comes out, +6, Night Slash, take this down. Sigilyph as well, another Night Slash, one shot, we take this down. Now we're to our final Pokemon, which is Gothitelle. Now this also is a one shot, and I actually think this is double super effective as well, so there's no surviving that. We take that down, that's Caitlyn defeated. And now next up, we got to go get into the fight with Grimsley. And this went fine, but it didn't go exactly to plan, but there's always backups and other options options we can use, and this is kind of how it happens. So I start off here by going for a protect, so I can block the fake out, and then I go hit the Lipard with charm. Knock this down into -2, and then I go put it into -4 with a second charm on the next turn. Now from here, I am going to go make a hard switch over into Jolt, and what my idea here is that I was going to go for Charge Beam, hopefully get the 70%, and then I should be able to 2-shot and be at +1, which didn't happen. So from here, instead I go for a Thunderbolt, finish off a Lipard. But this means now, when Scrafty comes out, I'm going to have a bit of issue against it, because I could have been either +1 or +2 at this point, and it didn't happen. So I just go put it under Thunder Wave. It gets affected by Paralysis on this turn, and then I go hit it with a Thunderbolt as well, knock it just above half-life, as it then goes for a Rock Tomb and lowers my speed. So from here now, I am going to go make a hard switch back over into Mina, because I know I'm going to survive both Rock Tomb and Crunch. But I actually do want to keep Mina alive as well, and I was hoping I was going to come out of that with a bit more HP, but I didn't. So I got to make a hard switch again over into Maraka. Now, Maraka tanks a Crunch, but then we get a defense drop as well, so I need to make another switch. And a hard switch again over into Scorp this time. It's just really not going exactly how I planned, but from here, what I know I'm going to do is, I'm going to start going for some sword dances. I go put myself to +2, then I go put myself to +4 on a turn after before taking a brick break. Now from here at +4, I can go for an X Scissor and take down the Scrafty. But because of a speed drop from Scrafty's Rock Tomb, I know that Crocodile's now going to be quicker than me. So when Crocodile comes out now, I go and make a hard switch over into Mamo. I take an Earthquake, and then I take another one on a turn after due to being a bit slower. Hit the Crocodile with an Ice Fang, and that takes it down as well. And then lastly, Grimsley sends out Bisharp, and I'm super effective against this and quicker. So I go for an Earthquake, take down the Bisharp, and that's Grimsley defeated. So Grimsley defeated, now we just got Marshall, and Marshall's the one that I was most worried about. Like I said earlier, if anyone's going to give me a death in the run, it's going to be Marshall. But I had to go for it, so I went into it leading Maraka. Now what my idea here was, I was going to go for Giga Drain, and then probably Needle Arm after, because I wanted Marshall to waste this potion. But the damage that Giga Drain done meant that we can just go with Giga Drain twice and put the Throwdown into red life. So I go for that, put the Throwdown into low life, hits me with a payback as well, which does quite a bit of damage to be honest. And then I go for another Giga Drain straight after on the heal, making Marshall waste his 1 full restore, put Throw just above half life again, and then I go for a Needle Arm after. And Needle Arm here actually flinches throws, so everything went perfect there. That was not intended. I only went for the Needle Arm to try and get a bit of chip damage. So yeah, that worked out really nicely. We take down the Throw, and then Marshall sends out Main Xiao. Now Main Xiao here is going for a high jump kick, so I've got Protect at the ready. I protect up, Main Xiao misses high jump kick, and it takes down half its life. Now from here, I'm going to go make a hard switch over into Jolt as well, who's holding a Lax Instance. I'm hoping for a miss, and we don't actually get that miss, which ain't so bad, because from here I can go for a Thunderbolt and I can finish this off. Now from here's where I had to make a really risky move against a Conkeldurr. Conkeldurr is a Pokemon that comes with the ability Guts, and if it goes under any type of status effect, it then starts to do 1.5 damage. Now Conkeldurr already comes with a huge base attack, and it's got very strong moves as well, so I had to make a risk here. I had to think to myself, if I put this under Paralysis, yes it will do more damage when it hits me, but I could possibly make it miss out on some turns. And then I also came to the conclusion that if it hits me without being in Guts, most of my Pokemon aren't going to live anyway, so I do have to go for it. And with this thought in mind, I take a big gamble and I put the Conkeldurr into Guts by putting it under Paralysis. Now on the first turn, Conkeldurr can't hit us due to Paralysis, so it's already started to help us. I go hit the Conkeldurr after with Thunderbolt and leave the Conkeldurr just above half-life. He then goes for a Stone Edge on me as well, and thanks to the Lax Instance, it actually misses. So we've had some pretty good luck against Conkeldurr so far. I go make a hard switch over into Maraka, and we take a Stone Edge on switch. From here then, I go hit the Conkeldurr with Giga Drain, and I was thinking it was going to kill. I was hoping it was going to kill, and we leave the Conkeldurr on just around about 1 HP, which sucked. It then gets a bit of healing from its berry, and I'm thinking, oh great, okay, so we've lost Maraka. And again, the Paralysis, the play of putting Conkeldurr into Guts for the possible chance that it's going to miss out on some turns, it came through. Conkeldurr was affected by Paralysis for the second time this fight, and from here I can go for another Giga Drain, and I can finish this off. So we take down the Conkeldurr, get a bit of HP recovery, and now we're up to Marshall's last Pokemon. Now Sork isn't anything I'm really worried about here, but I know it can do me for a lot of damage, and Maracas got a minus defense nature as well, which isn't great, so I'm going to try and get a bit of HP recovery. Now Sulk was actually quicker and puts us into low life. I get a bit of HP recovery there, but it's not actually much either. But because it's going for Brick Break, I know I'm going to survive, so I'm going to make a hard switch back over into Jolt, take a Brick Break, which isn't very effective, and from here I can go finish this off with a Thunderbolt and defeat Marshall. After somehow making it through the Marshall fight deathless, we then get into Iris with all 6 Pokemon. So this last fight is going to be a 6-on-6, which is absolutely perfect for us. We start off the fight here against her Hydreigon, and me here, I'm leading Drapion. So Drapion here, just like my plan against Ghetsis, I'm holding a Bug Gem. I also go put myself to +2 on Sword Dance as well, just in case. Take a second Dragon Pulse, which leaves me in low life, and I go hit the Hydreigon with X Scissor, and we take this down. From here then, Iris then sends out Aggron, and I'm going to go make a hard switch over into Maracas, and we take a double edge here. This knocks us down into half-life, and I'm going to go for a Giga Drain here because I know I'm going to get most of my HP back due to healing. And then Aggron goes for Automize, which is going to make it a bit faster. This ain't really going to change anything though, because it just outspeeds us now and goes for double edge, which basically this is how everything would have played out anyway if it didn't use Automize. So I'll go take down the Aggron. And then next up, Iris then goes and sends out Druddigon. So for Druddigon here, I know it's going for Flamethrower, and it's probably going to take down Maracas. So I had a look at my options. I want to get into Mamo, but without Thick Fat and anything like that, I'm probably going to have a bit of struggle. So I go make a switch over into Scorp, and I sadly sack him. It's the final fight of a run though, so it does not matter. As long as we get through the fight, we win the challenge. That's all that matters. So I sack Scorp. I make a switch over into Mamo, hit the Druddigon with Ice Fang, knock it down into one shot, and then we take a Focus Blast. I was kind of worried here when I saw that, but we just about survive on Red Life. Now because of this, we can go for another Ice Fang on the next turn and finish off her Druddigon. So now she's only got 3 Pokemon left. And from here, then she goes and sends out Lapras. So against Lapras here, I know it's going for Surf, and I know I can keep Mamo alive a bit longer, so I'll go make a hard switch here over into Maracas and take the Surf, which isn't really going to do any damage. And I go for the Giga Drain. Now with the Giga Drain here, we drop the Lapras into a third of its HP, take an Ice Beam, and sadly this also takes down Maracas. So with Maracas down now, I'm going to go into Jolt, and what my play here is, I'm going to Revenge Kill with Charge Beam. I'm also going to get a boost on my special attack, and then we can take down her Archeops. Going for the Revenge Kill, Lapras survives on 1 HP, and also hits us with Sing as well, so it was quite worrying here, but I decided I was staying in with Jolt, and I was going to go for the Thunderbolt. We stay asleep this turn, but on the next turn we do wake up, hit the Lapras with Thunderbolt, knock it back down into a third of its life, and I decide I'm going for it again because it looks like it's a tiny bit lower than it was last time. So I go for the same idea again, hit the Charge Beam on Lapras, and this is going to take it down this time, and also it's going to give us that boost we wanted as well. So now we go to +1 on our special attack, and then Iris sends out Archeops. Archeops here, I'm going to go straight away for a Thunderbolt. I know I'm quicker. Got no worries here. This goes down. So from here then, I hit level 60. And Jolt wants to learn Bug Buzz. So I teach that over Signal Beam because it's stronger. And then Iris sends out a final Pokemon, which is Haxorus. I'm going to Thunder Wave first because I know it's going to go for Dragon Dance and try to get a speed advantage over me. So I'm not going to let that happen. Now from here, I go for Thunderbolt. And I go knock this down just above half-life. Now this hits me with an Earthquake here as well, which was kind of worrying. Like thankfully it's paralyzed, but what my worry here is that I thought at +1 I was going to be able to safely 2-shot with Thunderbolt, but it turns out at +1 I don't put Haxorus down to half-life. So I start looking at my moves now thinking, what shall I do? I don't want to lose Jolt, I don't want to possibly lose anyone else. And then I saw Bug Buzz, the move I just learned. And I was in my mind, I was kind of worried still. Like I went completely like mind blank. I couldn't seem to remember if Bug was neutral or not very effective against Haxorus. So I go for the Bug Buzz, and it was actually neutral. I was so relieved. And Bug Buzz being neutral, it was able to take down the rest of Haxorus's HP and win us the fight against Iris, which means that we've beaten the challenge and we've beaten the run. Guys, I really hope you've all enjoyed. I've spent maybe the last 3 to 4 weeks on this challenge, and I'm really happy with how it turned out as well. Only coming out of the entire run with 2 deaths, which I'm very happy about. If you've enjoyed, show me some love in the comments and on the ratings. And if you are new here and would like to see more content just like this, make sure you smash that subscribe button. I'm trying to win a bet with one of my friends. And not only that, but I'd also love for you to stick around as well for future uploads. I've got so much in the works this year, and I've got a lot more free time in my hands to actually create as well. So keep an eye out, more challenges like this coming soon. And yeah, with that all said, it's been Ant, and I will see you all in another video very soon. Peace out, guys.